What's the craziest fan experience you've had?
Craziest fan experience. Like, as far as like, I'm trying to think. There's nothing that really stands out.
Someone ever try to like rip your shirt off your back or something like that? Or
I mean, so people are just like, they're like almost in shock, like when they see me sometimes, because a lot of people, it's mainly fantasy football fans, right, that have had me on the fantasy. I scored all those points for them. They won the championship. Like, I think it was like some number. It was like 12%, or maybe it was like something. I had the highest number if you had me on the team. I was the highest percentage of fantasy championships, or if you had me on your team.
You won. My brother has a team with all his friends. You won all of their.
Yeah. And so if you had me on your team, you had a very good chance to win your championship. And so when people see me, because now they finally see me in person, like they like become like overexcited. And so a lot of times it's like they like want to like touch me, and they're like, hey man, like try to put my arm around me, or they're like getting really close to me, and they're like hey, you won me all my this money and my fantasy championship, because they're passionate about this stuff, right? So they're just like overjoyous all of a sudden because they weren't expecting it, and it's like, whoa, like usually people with me are like is this okay? And they're like my little brother one time was like, yo bro, back off, like it is like people just like are so excited. And so that's usually the experience that I'm like, okay, like, yeah, well, I mean, I'll take pictures with anybody, but it's like, okay, like this is getting a little too much, bro. And I might, be a little bit more assertive in those scenarios than I usually am. But as far as like crazy fan experiences, for the most part, people are cool. Almost too cool like that, where it's like, yes, I know, I want to take a picture. I'm excited. You're excited about it. Me too. So, but yeah, that's the one thing, and especially like there's so many different communities to tap into, right? You have the Chargers community and fantasy football. I don't know if you guys ever played or like do sports betting or stuff like that. It's huge, right? It's massive. And so that's what's continued to make the NFL grow, right? Because you got people that don't even watch or aren't even Charger fans, but they got Austin on their team, so now they're watching the Charger games, right? So that's more viewers, across the entire globe, right? I did a podcast for some people in Indonesia that were fans, and they were in one of my charity fantasy leagues, and they wanted me to come on their podcast, and I was like, yeah, absolutely, I'll come on your podcast. But it's just global, right? I do streams. I have people from Iceland that watch and tune in and stuff like that, so it's pretty cool.
Do you or have you ever fangirled being on the same field as someone else?
Ooh, so I'm gonna say no, just because I never watched the NFL growing up, so I didn't like look up to these guys. I never watched the NFL until after my junior year of college, when I was like, oh, you might have an opportunity to watch this and play this. But it was funny. The first time I ever saw Phillip Rivers, who was my quarterback at the time, back in when they were in San Diego, and we just moved to LA. He had like nine like people out there talking to him and stuff like that. And I thought he was like doing a meet and greet. And come to find out, those were all of his kids. The dude has 9 kids, and so I thought that was hilarious. And it was kind of like a wake up call, like, oh, like these are actual grown men with real families here. I'm 21 coming into the league. Gosh. This guy's 30 something, right, with 9 kids, and it was just like, oh, okay, this is a real like business with grown people that are doing things out in the real world too. So that was pretty funny, but no real like fangirl moments.
And when you're on the field, how much of your mind is there in the game versus how much of your mind is thinking about the past or the future, or just like other random stuff that might be passing?
Wow, you have to lock in so hard that like you can't think about anything else, because
it's just blinders, literally blinders.
You have to focus on what you're doing, or you will get hurt. Like I realize, especially the O-line, if they miss somebody, if they don't block somebody, he's drilling me. Right. And it's like, that's literally my livelihood out there on the field. I rely on these guys being locked in. And it's the same for me. If I'm not locked in, I misstep, I go the wrong direction, I'm getting pile drive by a 300-pound dude, right, into the ground. And it's not soft, right? It's on turf most of the time. So no, your livelihood depends on you being locked in. So at that level, you don't have time to be right second guessing and things like that.
How do you get your mind right though? Let's just say you have like a bad day, maybe you get in an argument or something like that, and like your mind's not in the right place. How do you lock in like that?
Man, how do I lock in? I don't know. It's one of those things where you show up, and when it's game day, There's really nothing that matters. Like you stay at the hotel the night before to kind of get away from everything, kind of just reset. It's just all football. You're all around your guys, so it kind of helps you get into just a mode where you're just getting ready for this game, right? So everything's preparing up to the game, all the meetings, all the final adjustments, right? Going over the things for the 5th time of the week, right? Everything's just focused on just hyper focusing on the game. And so really it's hard to get distracted, I feel like, if you're doing the right things. If you're getting distracted, then you're probably right. You're probably not doing the right things. You're probably not going to be playing very long if you're able to get distracted on game days, because that's, for us in our career, in our profession, like that's the ultimate test, you know, and that's how you're going to get paid, is what you do on game day, right? And so if you're not locked in, if you're not paying attention, making sure you're doing the right thing, you're probably going to lose some opportunities. And guess what? Those college kids, they're coming. You know?